Hello, take one with Margarita. So, Margarita, where are you from?
78702.
East Austin.
Yes, born and raised.
Born and raised. Ever lived anywhere else?
I lived in Houston for a minute, lived in Galveston for a minute, but mainly Austin. But I've been to prison 6 times, been to 10 different penitentiaries in my whole life. I've been to prison insane asylums, seriously, Skyview. My life didn't start out easy. I was molested from the time I was 3. An uncle of mine molested me. My biological father molested me. I saw him 4 times in my life, and each time he was touching me under the table. My first memory is being in a little yellow dress and them doing what they wanted with me. My uncle and my cousin, a cousin of mine molested me, but they were all adults. I was little. I was 3 years old. I was 4, 5 years old, 6 years old. I was little. An uncle of mine, a cousin of mine, and my biological father. I was molested and I was raped by the time I was 13 years old. A neighbor of ours that lived catty corner from us told my sister that he would let her play with the Atari if you brought your sister over with you. And me being the oldest, I stepped in first and they slammed the door in my sister's face. I went into shock, considering that, you know, I've been molested so many times in my life and I've been hurt so many times in my life that I went into shock, and I don't even know how he got me from one room to the other. But that happened to me when I was 13. And my grandma blamed it on me, my family blamed it on me, that it was my fault. I remember when I told her that my father touched me, and she told me, don't ever tell anyone because they're gonna talk ugly about you. I've had a lot of hard things in my life. When my grandmother and my family blamed me after I got raped at 13, I left home. I was the fat little nerd that had never been out of the backyard. And I just walked, and I just remember thinking, walking down the driveway, there's something I have to learn, and I'm not going to learn it here. And, well, it was the streets. It was the streets. That's what I learned. To rob, to steal, to burglarize, to hurt. Like I said, I went to prison 6 times. The first time that I ever went down, I did 5 flat. I turned 21 in the penitentiary. There were no parties. You know, we didn't go out because I was the type of addict that I was the worst type of addict. I was the one who would get a whole bunch of heroin and get a whole bunch of crack or cocaine and go lock myself in a room and stay stuck in a restroom for days a week at a time. Didn't eat, didn't sleep. Not until I did heroin, at least. I was greedy with mine. I OD'd every time I did a shot of cocaine. I guess I didn't want to live. I didn't love myself. And I try really hard now because I've changed my life. I'm so thankful that I've changed my life. I did it with my higher power. My God, He helped me change my life for myself and for my children, for my family.
When you started, you said you took off at what age was that?
I was 13 years old when I left home. And I remember everybody getting high, putting needles in their arms. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand what they used to get out of it. And then one day I went to go see my grandmother. It had been weeks since I had seen her. because I ran away from home. And it's not like they call the police. It's not like they put me as a runaway. I was gone, and it's like they didn't even care. And I was 13 years old. I went to see my grandma, and the next thing I knew is she had me in a corner and she was hitting me. And that was the last time they asked me to use drugs. And I just remember giving them my arm, and I didn't even know what it was they were giving me. But I wish somebody would have told me that, that it was drugs, that it was this, that it was that. So I wouldn't go down that road. All the adults who were around me could have stopped it, but no one did. No one helped me.
Did you say it was the last time they asked you to use drugs?
Yeah, there was the first. Yeah, because they had asked me a lot of times.
Your friends?
Yes, my friends.
On the street.
Yeah, they asked me a lot of times, and they would do it in front of me, and I didn't know. It's not like, and I don't know. I was just so naive and gullible, because you see, my mother, my father were drug addicts. They were heroin addicts. It was nothing for me to see my mother fall out and have a seizure from doing so much cocaine. And her just telling me, "Boo-boo, don't do anything stupid," meaning don't call the ambulance. And I was 8 years old. I always know where someone knows me from by what they call me. As I've changed my life, Miss Margarita is who I am today. But back then I was Boo-boo. Prison, I was Chula. So I had a lot of different identities, I guess you could say. But I've made it this far. And I know there's a reason for me to be here. It hurts to just say my story, but it's real. These things really happened to me. It was nothing for us to see my uncles and my aunts coasting all high, and we were children, throwing up from doing so much heroin, fighting over drugs, who has the rig, who doesn't have the rig. It was harsh. We grew up in a dysfunctional family. I was abused mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I was sexually abused. And that's why I left home. That's why my life led to drugs. But thankfully I know who I am today because of everything that I've been through. I want everyone to know that. I wouldn't be the woman that I am today if I hadn't endured so many things in my life. And I want to believe that I'm strong. I want to believe that I can do this. And I have so far. I have.
I've witnessed. I know that I can tell you that you're strong. From my past experiences, seeing you and what you've hearing what you've gone through, knowing you're part of your family, and just I can tell. So I can see how strong you are. And I feel like you're gonna. Just like you said, there's a reason for you being here. Just with your story.
Is it okay if I smoke a cigarette? Okay.
Did either of your parents die of drug overdose?
My father OD'd when I was 14 years old.
And he passed away?
And he passed away. My mother killed herself and OD'd on my methadone when I was in 1998. I found her dead.
On your methadone?
On my methadone.
Did she double dose or?
It was 130 milligrams of methadone. They had just raised me, and she was greedy. She took it all. But
Second Street Clinic?
No, we went to Oshbach. I went to Oshbach. Okay. But she always said she wouldn't live to be past 41, and that's what she did. She was 41 years old when she passed.
How old were you?
I was in my 20s. I was maybe 26, 27 years old.
So you had just gotten out of prison, or were you in prison?
No, I was out. I was running from the law. America's Most Wanted. For real. They couldn't check my fingerprints because I had such a bad infection on my fingers, on my hands at one time. And They couldn't check my fingerprints. I'll just let you know that. I got away.
It kind of works in your favor when you're living that life, you know?
Yeah.
How did it affect you being raped at 13 and your parents telling you don't say anything about it because they'll think that you're weird or they won't believe you? How did that make you feel?
I felt alone when my grandmother and my family told me that it was my fault and for me not to say anything. At my little age, my little brain knew that they were wrong, and I knew that it wasn't my fault. At 8 years old, I felt so alone, I tried to kill myself. That was the first time that I ever cut myself. I was a cutter because it released, just the cuts released some of the pressure that I have in my heart, the sadness that I have within me.
How long were you cutting?
I cut for years. And I didn't cut just a little bit. I cut enough they'd stitch me up. I've lived a life of crime, of assaults, always fighting. I fought all my life.
What took away the pain more, cutting or using heroin?
Using heroin.
It worked better.
I felt like I could see through my eyes.
Like
The first time that I ever used heroin, I was 14 years old. And I remember I didn't want to shoot it because I was so scared, because I knew my mommy and my daddy and my uncles, everybody. I'm talking about my uncles. I have 5 uncles, 4 aunts, and only one of them didn't use drugs. Everyone else has OD'd. I have like 2 uncles left. All the other ones have overdosed, literally died from heroin, cocaine abuse, something. But I'm sorry, I lost track of thought.
You were talking about your family that's been overdosing.
The first time you used heroin?
The first time that I used heroin, I was 14 years old.
I asked you what relieved the pain better, cutting or using heroin? You said heroin.
Yeah, the first time that I used heroin, I was 14 years old. I didn't want to shoot, and because I remember my mother and my father, I remember how they did.
When you shot, the first time you shot, what did you feel? What were your thoughts on shooting? Because my thoughts were, no way, shooting is no. But I did it. I had someone shoot me up, and I thought, well, this is no big deal. I was like, this is great. You know, I was like, why are people saying this is so bad? Because it's not. What did you feel when you shot? Or what were your feelings that, I know you were afraid to do it at first. After you did it first?
I was afraid to do heroin. The first thing I ever did, I didn't progress from doing pills and drinking alcohol and smoking weed. The first thing that I ever did when I was 13 years old was they stuck a needle in my vein, and I didn't even know what it was. Now I know that it was methamphetamines, that it was speed. But back then I didn't. I gotta tell y'all, the first time that I ever used heroin, I keep on trying to go back to that because it's something else that happened in my life. You know, they were cutting up at my friend's house. My mother sent me, but I didn't know why she sent me. They were gonna cut up the heroin and they wanted me there. So my mother sent me, and I just remember that man sticking all his tongue in my mouth. My mom sold me just so that way they could cut all the heroin up and they would have heroin themselves, because I was who I was, and I was pretty when I was young, and they wanted me. And
I wanted a little girl.
yeah,
It still can't comprehend that.
I was 14 years old. 14 years old.
She sold you
To the dope dealer.
When's the last time you used heroin?
Oh man, I haven't used heroin in like 20 years.
Wow.
I've been sober, y'all. I've been sober. Yes, I don't want to glorify anything that I used to do, but I want y'all to. I want to be real with what life I have lived.
The heroin, it's not like it used to be. It's trash.
My sister overdosed on fentanyl.
Rest in peace.
A cousin of mine overdosed on fentanyl. You can't, even if somebody wanted to get high, it's so dangerous right now because of the fentanyl. They put it in everything.
You gotta like be on methadone in order to do fentanyl regularly.
No.
Or you'll overdose.
Yeah.
It's killing a lot of people.
Yeah, it's killing a lot of people.
So 20 years.
It's amazing.
Wow. Do you remember the last time you used?
The last time I used, wow.
Did you get, like, did you go to prison and when you came out, you didn't
every time, not until September 4th of 2017 is the last time that I was so proud of myself. I got out of prison. It was the first time that I got out of prison and I didn't use drugs. I wanted to change my life. I was gung-ho. I didn't know what to do because I had never lived a normal life. I didn't know what it was to just live day by day, minute by minute, because all I knew was to get high on drugs. So I would pray, please, Lord, let me find good people in this world, not just the bad people, but let me find good people that will want to help me and that will be encouraging to me so I would continue to go on this path of changing my life, Jay. This is really what I did. A lot of the times I felt alone. I felt scared. I've lived scared all my life. But that's why I was so mean, because I didn't want anyone to get next to me. I didn't want anyone to take advantage of me. I didn't want anyone to hurt me. So yeah, I may have been robbed, stolen, beat, assaulted, did all those things that I truly regret today, that I really feel bad for today, the things that I did, because I was awful. I was a horrible person. But today I changed my life. I've changed my life.
Have you tried to make amends,
And with my God, asking forgiveness, but to know all the people that I've hurt, no.
It's a living amends. When you've done it to so many people, there's no way you can reach all those people, So it's just like, by doing good acts to the community or whatever it may be, is a living amends to all those people. That's what I was told when I was in AA, and that's what my sponsor had told me, because I had cheated tens of thousands of people, What?
I'm so sorry, but this is really hard for me to say my story. I have 3 children, and my twins are special needs. So I work really hard to be the best mother that I can be. Considering I came from the streets, I feel like I was born on the streets. That's all that was there for me. All my family got high. It was nothing for us to see them coasting or ODing, and we were little children. We shouldn't have seen all those things. We were corrupted from the beginning. I remember my Uncle Adam telling me one day, for my first birthday, this is what I got. They put me in my high chair, they filled my bottle with beer, and 3 of my uncles, they lit a joint. Each one of them had a joint, and they blew the smoke in my face. That was my first birthday. What chance did I have? What chance did I have coming into this family? But I knew better. I knew that I was worth something, at least a little bit, and I knew that they were wrong.
And I'm really taking back, I sort of at a loss of words, to be honest with you, to out of just saying, people that I've been around, you've been around in the neighborhood that just grew up in a lot of the same situations that have, had no other. Being sober was not an option, and the fact that you did it is like a one. It's a miracle. It's a divine intervention, is what it is, which is our high is God. The fact that you are doing what you're doing and taking care of your family, and you're not using dope, and you made it out from everybody else is dead.
Yeah.
And
jails, institutions, or death. That's real. That's real.
And then, the few of them that might be alive from your day or hit the dam, and they'll be dead soon.
Yeah.
I'm
glad I got out when I got out, because everything's gone to hell now with fentanyl. Everyone's killing each other.
You've done amazing. I'm like, I wish I could give you some award or something, because you definitely deserve one, but I think the award is, sometimes it may not feel like it, because it can be hard, it's hard, but you've got yourself and you're in control of yourself. Nothing controls you now but margarita, and that's a blessing. I have a few questions. If you had one thing to say to the young kids, or maybe even adults who are thinking about going down that path that you went down, as far as using drugs, crime, all that stuff, what would your advice to them be?
My advice to a youngster would be, don't go that route. Go to school. That's the best you can do for yourself, is go to school. Find good people in this world, because there are plenty of them. Don't use drugs. It's not worth it to live a life of penitentiary, to live a life of just crime and being lost, not loving yourself, not caring about anybody. That's what you become when you use drugs. You become you're not yourself anymore. It messes with your mind. I stayed with the chemical imbalance from using so much drugs in my life. It will hurt you, baby. It will hurt you. You'll go to prison, and that's not a fun place, okay? That's not a fun place. Take it from somebody who knows, who's been down 10 different times, who knows what it is to be in the penitentiary, who knows what that life is, who knows what life is on the streets. Hardcore being on the streets, out there doing whatever I could to make the money that I needed just so I could get high on drugs. And that's not for you. That's not for you. Stay in school and do better for yourself. You can. That's what I have to say to you.
Do you feel comfortable talking about relationships, things like that?
I was with my husband for 20 years. And I was sober this whole time, trying to raise my munchkins. He was very abusive to me. He physically and emotionally abused me, mentally abused me. He had me believing that I was ugly.
Yeah.
I remember the day that I went.
He was so beautiful that you were ugly.
I remember the day that I went to the mirror and I finally believed it. I'm ugly. You're ugly. I really believed it then.
which is wild because you're so beautiful, you know. So that
This brings a lot of memories to me, but I didn't want my children to be raised seeing him be abusive, being drunk all the time, coming in when he wanted. A week later, he would come in dragging, dirty, stinky, hadn't bathed, he was an alcoholic. He died of alcoholism. He exploded his liver from drinking so much. And now my children don't have a father. They have me. We may not have everything we want, but we have everything we need.
there it is.
We have a roof over our head. They have food in their stomachs. I do my best to pay my bills and just take care of my little family. And that no one can give me more. Just being mommy, which is the most beautiful name in the world. Mommy. It fills my heart with joy to know everything that I went through, but God blessed me. God blessed me and saw fit to give me 3 more children that I could raise and care for and do everything opposite of what my family did. Everything opposite of what they did. So that way my children would have a chance that they wouldn't see mommy coming in drunk or with a different man every night or using drugs or seeing me OD or all the horrible things that I saw when I was a little girl that no child should have to go through. I beg y'all to see this video, and I'm coming with all my heart. Don't use drugs. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. You don't want to. Penitentiary is not safe, man. And they like cute little boys. They got like cute little girls too. You don't want to go there.
As far as I usually ask people about the drugs from 7-8 years ago today, but you've been sober for 20 years, so I can't ask you that one.
No.
And I'm glad I can't ask you that question. That's amazing. Can you do you want to talk about my friend and your sister, Sandra?
Yeah.
Recently passed.
Yeah. My sister Sandra.
What got, before we start, and this is just what I'm gathering, is that like you were like the big sister. Like you schooled her on everything for the most part and kind of took care of her. Am I right?
Yeah.
You were a lot tougher than her.
Yeah.
Like a lot tougher.
My little sister Sandra. We were raised, of course, in the same household, so we got all the same abuse. She got a lot more emotional abuse and mental abuse. But she never learned to love herself. She never learned to forgive, which is actually for the person that's asking for forgiveness. It will take something off you when you finally forgive someone. It's not for them, it's for you when you ask for forgiveness. And it's on them. If they don't want to accept your apology, it's on them. But my sister, which was lost on drugs, OD'd on fentanyl last November. It broke my heart to go and see her body. Oh God.
She's in a better place now. No more suffering.
No more having to look for a fix.
No more suffering.
Ya no está sufriendo mi hermana. My little sister's not suffering anymore. She was hardcore. She prostituted. She stole. She robbed. She stabbed many a person. Now she's with God, and one day I'll see her again.
She's smiling right now. She's watching us right now. smiling. I think
Yeah.
so. I know so. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
If you had any like closing statements, what would they? I mean, do you have any closing statements? I mean, what are you feeling, or just?
I feel encouraged that I've finally been able to share a little bit about me. I've thought of doing this for a very long time, and I'm thankful for Above and Below for giving me the opportunity to share my story. I pray will help someone out there, even if it's just one person. You're not alone, because I went through some hell in my life, and you can make it too. Even if you are a drug addict, you can get out. There's help out there. There are good people in this world who will help you. Connect yourself with positive people that want to reinforce your goodness. They want to help you. Just look for goodness in others. And thank you for listening to my story.
Two more questions. Margarita. Chula. Okay, Margarita. Where would you like to see yourself in 3 to 5 years?
I'd like to see myself at the graduation of my children. That's where I'd like to see myself. Be proud of my children, to see them grow and further themselves in life and do great things in this world, because I do believe that. I believe in my children that they will do great things, and that this curse will be gone. You know, these chains are broken with me. These chains are broken with my children. It's not going to happen.
You
because
broke the cycle.
Yes, breaking the cycle.
Generational change.
Generational curses. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I broke them, and my children won't have to go through this, because my daughter knows that I'm coming to do this life story. And my daughter was scared for me to do this story, because she thought that they were going to laugh at me. They were going to be mean to me.
No one.
But I've taken my chance to share with you, and I hope that this can help someone out there.
And you want to do a 6 months follow-up?
Sure, I'll do a 6-month follow-up.
Awesome. That's an awesome interview, Margarita.
It was
very,
great.
very powerful. Is no understatement. Very, extremely powerful story. It's great.
Okay.